Alright, everyone. We are going to talk about the AP English Language and Literature examination today, and specifically focus on the multiple choice portion of this exam. First, we're going to begin with talking about the questions and the passage setup of the exam, and then we'll continue on and talk about some basic test-taking strategies and tips. So for the question structure of this exam, in each multiple choice section, 5 to 7 passages will be given. Each passage is accompanied with 5 to 12 multiple choice questions. Oftentimes, passages will not include a title or an author or any outside information, but they will usually include a date. Topics covered in the questions include main ideas of the passage or the author's purpose, how the piece is written, for example, its tone or its vocabulary usage. It may ask key details of the passage and ask you to make inferences about that piece. Where do these passages come from? Generally, most of the passages will be written in the 19th to 20th century. I did say most, because at least one selection will probably come from the 1800s or earlier. So you will have to deal with some of that old language. All works are going to be written in English, or if they were not originally written in English, they will be translated. They will most likely not be something that you have read in class. They try to stray away from common works. The different types of passages are going to vary. They love variety. You can encounter fiction, whether a short story or an excerpt from a novel, essays, biographies and autobiographies. Different speeches, letters, and diaries can be included in that as well. Pieces of journalism, science or nature writing, pieces about politics or history. You may encounter primary documents or literary and cultural criticisms. Now for some basic test-taking strategies. The major one advice that I can give you is read the passage first, not the questions. These designers for the test keep in mind that a common advice is to go for the questions first. And they designed trick questions for you in which if you had not read the passage and you would have answered the questions out of context, you would miss the question. So just keep that in mind and read the passage first. During the first reading, you're going to be looking for big picture questions. What was this passage about? What was the author trying to convey? And get familiar with the structure and the tone of the passage. Then go back through. Do everything twice if it was permitted. You will have 8 to 12 minutes per passage, and this does include reading time, so you will have less than 1 minute for each question for each passage. You have to go very quickly through this exam, especially if you want time to go back through. The easiest way to save time is to go ahead and answer all the easy questions first. That way you are sure to have the most questions answered if you do run out of time. If time permits, make sure that you go back to any areas that you feel iffy about. It's important to circle hard questions as you go and skip them, and then return to them after finishing your exam. When you are done with the exam, go back to the hardest passage or any parts in which you felt uneasy about. Do this only if time permits, but if you have any spare time at the very end, take advantage of it. Process of elimination is really important to keep in mind. Remember that there is no penalty for a wrong answer. This is not the SAT. So if you don't know, go ahead and guess. If you do a completely blind guess and have absolutely no clue as to what the answer is, you do have a 20% chance of getting the answer correct. And if you can eliminate just 2 choices, then you have a 33% chance of just guessing correctly. You might as well try because it could always be in your favor. That is a 1 in 3 shot. Alright, so now that you understand what you have ahead of you, I want to wish you good luck. Study well and keep these in mind as you practice, and make sure to apply everything that you learned in this video during the actual examination. Best of luck!